And welcome, ladies and gentlemen, back to the Valley of the Judged. I am your one and only gaming monk, better known as Mildra, and with me I have 1, 2, 3 good brothers and sisters. We have our resident king of the dad jokes, and the man who probably gets sick of the third eye blind jokes. Good brother Joe.
Never three doors down jokes.
Well, that's because I'll make sure to slam a door in your face to make sure that we cover that.
But that's my kryptonite.
We have the man who will soon be returning to the doomed worlds. Good brother Sig.
Got the book coming. Should be here on Monday. Probably get started this week.
And our good sister who had recently finished messing around with time and is now messing around with ring weapons. Good sister Tabby.
Hey.
Hi. I enjoy Tales. It's fun.
Which tales?
Fantasia.
Oh.
I just finished all of the endings of Chrono Trigger.
Yeah.
Nice.
There's still a small part of me that would love to see what the original script for Tales of Fantasia was. I know it was put out in a book, but I don't think that book was ever translated.
have the full fan translation for the PlayStation 1, which generally fan translations try their best. So I mean, it's gonna be close.
That's not exactly what I meant by the original.
Oh.
Because this is a complicated matter that I may return to in the near future, but even the first version of Tales was a significant departure from the original script. And it was such a departure from the original script that the guy who wrote it was so pissed off on the matter, he quit Wolf Team and formed Tri-Ace.
Oh. Didn't know that.
Yeah. Tales of Fantasia was
What do
based
you
on a
know?
story that he wrote, and the video game adaptation made changes that he was not happy with, which is how Tri-Ace was formed.
You know, Tri-Ace gave me one of my favorite RPGs, though, so I'm not too mad about it.
Mhm.
Gotta love Valkyrie Profile.
And of course, the people who stayed would form Tales Studio, and the rest on that is history. It is funny you mentioned Valkyrie Profile, because I remembered when on an early episode of the Geek Watch podcast I had done a whole thing on different PS1 RPGs and how many of them ended up getting better ports. And I have to include Lenneth because the PSP port I actually prefer more than the PS1 version.
Really?
Yeah, there were a bunch of little changes because as much as I like the original Valkyrie Profile, there were definitely some problems. Some Einherjar are flat out useless or not worth the effort, and some are a little bit too useful. Which, when people end up talking about classics, those kind of things they end up hiding under the rug, and they really shouldn't be. Like as much as I enjoy FF6, I'm also not going to defend some of the more busted ass mechanics or certain Magicite that are completely useless. Hi Crusader, how you doing? You know, I'm not a fan of differential enforcement when it comes to examining games. If that makes sense.
Completely makes sense.
Of course, some people really get mad at me when I say Plato's Republic, if it was made nowadays, would be like a Hollywood movie. Because if you've read Plato's
Where's
Republic,
the lie?
it kind of is. Or the fact that, and this is what really gets it's under people's skin sometimes. What is considered classical music was at one point pop.
Yep. As a musician, I 100% can attest to like the people just all pop is today is what Baroque was back in the 1700s. So specifically,
Remember,
1700s.
folks, if it ain't Baroque, don't fix it.
You all know that all songs revolve. All these new songs today, they're all Baroque. They all revolve same 4 chords.
Yeah.
Just listen to Pachelbel's Canon. You've listened to all of the new songs today.
Yeah, I do remember one comedian doing a whole bit about
Access of Awesome.
some Pachelbel's
The Pachelbel rant.
Yeah, because
Yeah, and
he
there's
played.
also another one that's called 4 Chords, and it's a completely on a comedy band.
Mhm.
Yeah, the Axis of Awesome.
Yeah, Axis of Awesome. Yeah, I listened to that
I love
today.
those guys.
But then you have some of the funnier moments, like there was the rendition of Florentiner Marsh that I had years ago had one of the more interesting things in the horn section for the sheet music. I'm gonna put this in the side chat for you guys, and tell me if you can spot the problem here.
Oh, I'm game for this. Let me see.
Abby will probably definitely know.
Hang on.
This is for This is for the trombone section.
Well, first off, who wants to have a trombone play that loud? That is my normal volume as a trumpet player. But anyway.
I used to play tuba.
Mm-hmm. But that is 24 fortes on a trombone.
It's forte. I also play trombone though, so I mean, I like seeing if I were to see that on a trombone part, I'd be like, hell yeah, let's go.
Yeah. Then again, if you've seen portraits of Julius Fawcett, he definitely has a I regret nothing face.
And yet I regret everything.
I mean, if you're playing a brass instrument, you have to regret nothing. I mean, we're the best, so it's okay. I do indeed hold up a light bulb, and the world revolves around me because I am a trumpet player, a lead trumpet player at that.
Yeah, when he started growing out his mustache, it was definitely a case of I have zero thoughts. And I think what was even funnier was reading the tags when this was initially shared, which says, "What is this? I've never seen the last two stories. Oh my God. What 24? What is the goddamn point? I am so upset. Do you want fucking China listening to your concert? Because guess what? That is what you're going to get. Fucking people in China are going to be like, what the actual fuck was that? It was the trombonist. They're coming. There is no escape."
Oh no.
Yes.
And
I remember in high school there was a point where they had split the lead trumpets with first trumpet and fourth trumpet. They gave it like half of us were playing down the octave. And then on our very first thing, all you could hear in any of the videos was just first trumpet and fourth trumpet. You heard nothing in between. And they're like, and they're playing so loud that we're pretty sure people in Europe can hear them. And I'm sitting over there like giggling because I'm like, I was one of the 2/4, and they're like, and nobody knew that I could play loud at that time. And then they're like, wow, Tabby can play loud. I'm like,
yeah. Oh, I've had whenever this kind of thing would come up. So I was doing strings at the time. I would see the horn section trying not to call attention to what they were seeing and not doing a good job. Then the foghorn noise comes out. Everybody stops because they just heard the entire horn section go full ham. And the conductor just has a Y face, and they immediately go, "There were 4 Fs." Completely.
There are 4 Fs. There are 4 Fs. What do you expect us to do? Just play it at, like, if you wanted it mezzo piano, you would put MP. If you wanted it not to be fortissimo, you would not put 4 Fs. See, I only have 2 volumes. I have Mighty Powerful and Maynard Ferguson. I mean, you got nothing in between here.
Yeah. And Florentina Marsh has that 24 version, as well as a prelude that has 8.
The only time I ever saw more Fs was my last report card.
But obviously, since this week we are doing the 3-in-1 rule, that means that we're tackling something a little different instead of continuing our look through Farsight, which obviously it has been fun going through Farsight, and if I run that, I may or may not inflict Vogon poetry on some of the people there.
Vogon poetry.
God damn it, Mildred.
Yes.
I love
Now the jumpling slurgids.
If I write a monster entry for Vogons in any system that I do, I will make it a requirement within the rules that you have to read off Vogon poetry completely verbatim. This means the GM
does
has
it
to
affect the person who's reading it, or only the people who are listening to it?
you know, kind of like how if you're messing with the charging handle on a on an MP5, you have to slap it. This is in the manual of arms. You have to do the MP slap. Now, Desperados. I mainly wanted to cover this because I've yet to cover a Western within the Valley of the Judge series since we started all those years ago. And as tempting as it would be to cover Deadlands, that would also involve me having to cover Savage Worlds, which is a kettle of fish I already have tackled indirectly through Titan Effect, and I like Deadlands, but I'd rather not. That being said, I'm no stranger to Westerns as far as RPGs go. I covered Westbound Dust and Dragons years ago, which uses cards instead of dice, much to my amusement. Look, card systems in TTRPGs are very underrated. I know a lot of people are like, but we want our shiny math runs. Yeah, but you could easily get people into TTRPGs using playing cards because everybody's got a deck of playing cards somewhere.
I have at least 3 somewhere.
And if not, you can
at least
get
5 within arm's distance.
Yeah, you can get them at gas stations for $1. But with Desperados, this is a TTRPG tie-in to the video game series of the same name. This came out right at the same time as Desperados 3 hitting PCs. And I will note one thing in its favor. The Desperados TTRPG is completely free.
Hey, that's pretty cool.
And I will post in the Twitch. Now, this is already going to be in the description on YouTube, but I will post that in the Twitch chat for you guys. For those of you watching on Twitch, I will address that later. But yeah, the full game is completely free, and it's not a very dense game. The PDF that we have here is only 64 pages. Now, I will note it is a move to have the second page in the PDF be the character sheet. And some of the things that are in here we will get to as we go in. I did notice that somebody had been using this game to do a 2-year-long campaign, which nice. But I will note a few points against it, namely no bookmarks, no hyperlinks. And let me go right to the back. No
There's
index.
no indexes there. Yep, there, called it.
Oh, that's a thing. See, the hyperlinks I'm not as upset about as the index because I am an index junkie when it comes to if I can't find something, I go straight to the index. I don't even go to the front page. I'm like, just go to the index. I'll find it there. We're fine.
Yeah.
Oh, that's a paddling.
I don't mind the character sheet being up at the front though, because I can like grab that character sheet and then make my character as I'm reading. So I'm kind of okay with the character sheet where it's at.
It's not bad.
I'm
It's
also
just,
a big fan of the
unusual.
index.
Yeah.
That's what I use all the time for my VR.
Mm-hmm. Now, I will also note that even though it's 64 pages, we're not going to be covering all 64 pages because from 43 to the end is a sample adventure. And as I've mentioned, I don't really cover sample adventures in this. But, first we have the introduction, and of course a quote from John Wayne, because you've got to do that.
Of
course. It's always
See-
good to have the Duke in a cowboy RPG.
Mm-hmm. I do know some westerns that have some pretty brutal injuries and more likely results in career-ending injuries, and your character is still alive, just can't continue the adventure. Which, yeah, I'm a little bit distracted by our guy in purple here with a very, very long revolver.
With a sight.
Mm-hmm. The sight doesn't bother me. Those things. It's how long it is. I keep thinking of that excessively long pistol that Joker had in the '89 Batman movie.
Bang.
But then it goes into the introduction that it is basically meant to be a tie-in to Desperados 3. Good game, by the way. A little unforgiving, but so was their team's other work, like Shadow Tactics.
A little? Oh wait, I made this joke already.
Mm-hmm. See, then it goes into what is a role-playing game, then what you need to play. So all that you're using for this is going to be 6-sided dice, if there's any indication here. Then we have a nice little example of play, which is cute, but not something we're going to be covering. Then a bit of a brief rundown on the Wild West. Although I do like the fact that they have a little sidebar on different events. Starting with the gold rush in 48, though it really didn't kick off until 1849, which is where the term 49ers comes from.
Mm-hmm. As well as the whole facts and fictions thing, which is basically them saying that they're not trying to be highly realistic when it comes to their depiction of the late 19th century. It is trying to be more Dime magazine with this setup. The fun stuff.
Which I'm perfectly fine with.
Sometimes cliches are the best. I'm just
saying. I'd say part of the reason that I think the Western fell out of favor in cinema is a combination of over-representation, like what we're seeing with cape shit these days, and also over-deconstruction. Like, so many people were doing deconstructions on the mythos of the Old West that those deconstructions ended up becoming the norm instead of the Dime adventures.
For a Blazing Saddles adventure.
Mm-hmm.
That would be fun.
Let's go. I'm in.
All right. Now, one major difference is that voodoo is as real of a thing as anything else. So you have that option, as well as the beliefs of the First Nations.
Gotta have some mysticism in somewhere in there.
To Ohio too.
Yep.
Okay.
And we also have a few media references. I always like when this kind of thing is done. Both novels and movies. The movies the stuff they list is Django Unchained, very nice. High Noon, also very nice. Once Upon a Time in the West, haven't seen that yet, but I've heard good things. The Magnificent Seven, aka the film that Kurosawa joked made him more money than the original Seven Samurai.
Look, it's Seven Samurai with guns.
Mm-hmm.
A fistful of dollars for a few dollars more. Where's the good, the bad, and the ugly? If you're
It's
gonna,
on here at the bottom. It says
Yeah.
the soundtrack.
mm-hmm. Writers Guide to Everyday Life in the West, Gunfighter, The Untamed West, and other Zane Grey, Louis L'Amour and Max Brand dime novels. And Ennio Morricone's soundtracks, of course. If I wanted to be cheeky, I'd also use the soundtrack for the original Wild Arms. That or certain dark western bands like, say, Ghoultown, or even the music that Blues Sacrimo does on his solo stuff. But then we get into characters, so we're getting straight into character creation. I like that we're not dealing with any bullshit.
Yeah, just get straight into the game.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, it is a short book.
Yep.
If
So
we didn't get straight into it, I mean, we'd be done with the book and not know how to play the game.
Mm-hmm. So characters are divided into 3 features: attributes, derived scores, and skills. And we essentially have a 5-step process for character creation. First, deciding on a background, which is basically the concept section that you see in a World of Darkness book. What your idea of the character is. Then, defining attributes. You have 20 points to spend on the core attributes. Each attribute has to have 1 point and cannot have more than 6. And keep in mind, we have 6 attributes in total to work with. But then choose template. There are 5 character templates. Each comes with attribute modifiers and skills, as well as special skills available to that template. I guess template would be equivalent of archetype. I wouldn't say it's the equivalent of class. Because when people think of... Oh, go ahead.
I was about to say, yeah, especially considering... Okay, I forgot where I was going with that. So go ahead.
When people think of class, they're thinking of a setup where they're getting new abilities as they develop, instead of a starting package, which this very much is. But then your derived values, so hit points, strength of nerve, and dueling score. And finally, skills. You pick another 2 skills for your character from the list of skills. These are addition to those gained in the template. It looks like you're not putting points in skills for this game. You've either got the skill or you don't. I like that.
Nice and simple. Like I said, good for quick play.
Yeah. Back in the early to mid 2000s, I was drowning in games that did the attribute points and skill points setup fucking everywhere. Some of them were bigger offenders than others. Looking at you, 3rd edition.
Just a bit.
Because who the hell thought use rope should be its own damn skill?
Find North.
Like, there's a reason I only have 7 skills within Legend Edition. Also, my big whipping boy when it comes to a lot of games that use skill systems is having individual knowledge subjects as their own skill.
Oh yeah, and 3rd edition was real bad about that.
3rd edition was real bad at that. Pathfinder
Call of Cthulhu?
is still bad about that.
Oh yeah.
The first thing I thought of was Call of Cthulhu when you said that.
Yeah. And it ends up being something that I end up house ruling because of how much of a point drain it can get. And even a simplified version of basic, like what you see in Dragonbane, tries to dial that shit back.
I know Night Shift does similar too, because it's like I have a sage, and if I'm like I just basically can be like, can I find the information of this,
Mhm.
rather than I have this basic information on the occult and I am an archaeologist, so therefore, so I was just like, I'm looking for the information on this.
Yeah.
And just because I have that ability, which is it's a base ability, it's not like something where you don't get it or anything else like that. It's like, you're a sage, you can go find lore,
Yeah.
and it just levels up with you.
Now, a game like the Gumshoe engine, which is used in things like Knights, Black Agents, and Trail of Cthulhu, does have the knowledge skill thing a lot. But in that game's defense, for one, you're using those skills more like resource pools, and two, the Gumshoe engine is built for investigative play. So I think it can get away with it in that case. But getting back to attributes, we have brawn, agility, mettle, insight, wits, and resolve. Mettle is essentially physical resilience, so your constitution. Insight is being able to use senses. Wits is self-explanatory, and resolve is strength of personality. The rest are pretty self-explanatory, and as mentioned, the value is 1 to 6. So 1 is substandard, 2 is average, 3 is talented, 4 is dab hand. No dabbing. I know one of you is thinking it. Especially you, Joe.
Consider it. I was considering it.
Anyway, 5 is exceptional, and 6 is legend.
It is legendary.
Then we have the character templates. Each template has I think 2 special skills, as well as its own list of skills that it has and an attribute modifier. So, for example, we have Gunslinger, the classic template. You get +1 to agility and resolve, and you can't go above 6. I'd probably house rule it that if you do go above 6 in this situation, you just get 2 free points. Now, no need to punish people who decide to really invest in agility and resolve, because the fact that they're not putting as much points in other things is already going to punish them enough.
Plus, you're a shooty shoot bang bang guy, so you're gonna want to put your points there.
Yep. You automatically get ranged combat and horsemanship, and you get the distraction and dual pistols special skills.
Right up my alley.
Yeah, I was gonna say that sounds like a U class right there.
Yep. We have the trapper, your fur traders and the like. Which get +1 to brawn and insight. They gain the athletics and survival skills, and the special skills bear trap and animal call. Which, since their whole thing is catching big game, that would certainly fit. It also means they're a better ranger than the ranger in the most ubiquitous role-playing game, or the most litigious role-playing game, depending on who you ask. And I will further reiterate what I've said in the past. Rangers should not be spellcasters. But then you have the gambler, which adds 1 to agility and wits, and has the skills empathy and perception, which would definitely fit this type of gambler. And the special skills Beguiling Perfume and Disguise.
Tawny.
Stop. She says that she doesn't wanna. Today.
Oh, and I will.
She lies. But, you know.
Then we have the Montbank, which this one I do want to read off because I think what it's doing is not as obvious as the others.
Is that how that's pronounced?
It's Montebank, actually.
Oh. Out in the vast prairies of these small towns of the Wild West, medical care is a rare commodity. It's hardly surprising, then, that many a traveling salesman comes upon the idea to improve their earnings by selling all sorts of snake oils and panaceas that are alleged to alleviate or even cure afflictions. Some of these traveling apothecaries really do have some medical knowledge, and might have a basic understanding of biology or chemistry. Many of them, however, are simply crooks or are out to con the gullible for their money.
Oh, never mind. It's not me.
So a snake oiler in West of Loathing.
Yep. They get +1 to metal and wits. They get the medicine and science skills, and the special skills gas vial and bandages. So despite them being snake oil salesmen, they are medics.
They're
They-
With incendiaries.
they're alchemists. That's all they are. They're
Yeah.
just alchemists.
Not incendiaries, they use sleeping gas.
I mean, if I can't use that as an incendiary, I don't know when I can use it.
You're lighting on fire.
Then the Voodoo Priest, which gets a +1 to metal and insight, as well as the humanities and conceal skills. And you get 2 spells from the list of voodoo magic, and that's the only special skill you get. Which, since you're technically getting 2 spells out of that, that counts as 2 special skills in and of itself.
Fair.
But then we have the derived score. First is hit points, which is self-explanatory. This is equal to your metal, so which means your hit points are not going above 6. So best not get hit.
Well, they are the squishy mage that needs to get geeked first. Got it.
Your dueling score is how easily you can avoid gunfire. This depends on speed and reflexes. It's not only applied in duels and is for tactical combat, and is 10 plus your agility. So dueling score is your ability to not get hit. I do see. I do want to cover this late. Mario brings up that the time from the Colt Walker to the Colt single action, so cap and ball to single action revolver, was only 25 years. Given the way firearms developed in the 19th century, that makes sense. Especially involving the bullshit of gunpowder, because you never know when gunpowder is going to backfire on you. And it can be for any number of reasons that it does. But then we have Strength of Nerve, which is used to determine how you act during stressful situations. It can be used to modify dice rolls, we'll get to that later. And your Strength of Nerve is equal to your Resolve. But after that, we do have skills, which, as mentioned, skills are either you've got it or you don't, but each one does have an associated ability. In terms of what it modifies, we'll get to that when we get to the tests proper. But fortunately, there's not that many skills. We have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15 skills in total. For a game like this, that kind of skill size, that's not that bad.
Nah. I like how one of the skills is explosives.
But then we get to the game system proper. Before I read off tests, I do want to read off this sidebar about equipment because I am very grateful for this. Desperados refrains from using complicated rules for individual pieces of equipment and complex bookkeeping of their use. Instead, should your character own a piece of equipment that may be useful in a given situation, you may simply add the appropriate attribute value to your roll's result. For example, a crowbar may help to prise open a locked door, bringing into play the character's brawn, or a lantern may improve visibility in a dark mine. Only one attribute may be added to any roll. Any bonuses from equipment and skills do not add together. I am perfectly fine with not doing another 5-foot rope test ever again.
5-foot rope test.
I.e., the really, really granular approaches to equipment. I'm only willing to go with that kind of thing when resource management is a big damn deal, like in a survival horror kind of game. And for a game like this, which very much feels beer and pretzels, it wouldn't fit.
Mm-hmm.
But the core mechanic is a roll high 3d6. You're always rolling 3d6, adding modifiers, and then comparing it to the target number. And of course, if you have a skill that's suitable and you roll a test for it, you can add the attribute. So that's where the modifier happens when it comes to skills. So if you don't have a skill, it's a straight 3d6 roll. If you do, you can add the attribute to that roll. So it goes from 8 to 10 is a simple roll. 11 to 13 is routine. 14 to 16 is moderate. 17 to 19 is difficult. 20 to 22 is challenging. And 23 plus is scary. I do wonder what happens if you roll sets or even roll nothing but boxcars. Now, that being said, you can use Strength of Nerve to mess with the roll. Basically, you can reduce Strength of Nerve by 1 to reroll one of the dice. This only works on your own dice rolls, not on those of other players. You can reroll as many as you like, provided that you keep expending Strength of Nerve.
I was about to ask if you recovered that, and in the last paragraph it goes over how you can recover Strength of Nerve by resting.
Yep. Which I'm fine with, because if it was a case of you need to do a full rest in order to recover it, then you'd have the same problem you have with, say, the Vancian model with spells, or the too good to use problem. And I know earlier I asked what happens if you roll sets. Well, we have that answer, because if you roll under the difficulty, it's a failure. If you roll equal to or more, it's a success. If you roll equal to or more and you contain at least a double, it is a grand success. So this is how we get our criticals. And the sidebar about dances with failure, this is basically them going into the fail forward concept. For those unfamiliar, fail forward is the idea that a failed roll does not mean a narrative stopped. And honestly, it's something I'm perfectly fine with. There's plenty of cases where somebody fails a roll and then the GM is like, okay, you just don't do that.
I mean, that's what I do for my own games,
But
especially if it's like close enough.
yeah, fail forward is it. You still fail, but it's not a case. But it's, you know, something else got in the way of you succeeding instead of just saying you just don't do it.
Yeah.
And then we have experience. Oh. When a particular stage is completed in the adventure or campaign, you either can raise an attribute by 1 point or receive another skill. If you're a voodoo priest, you can instead get another voodoo spell. So essentially, this is milestone setup. In fact, it says so. It says so right in the paragraph. I'm perfectly fine with that.
Mhm.
I could see how one could do point-based experience with this setup, but for most of my campaigns, I end up doing milestone experience anyways, because I have had cases where everybody levels up but one person, and I'd like to maintain an even leveling up scaling, which is the reason I've never been a fan of the differential level ups that you see in like AD&D.
Or Castles and Crusades.
Mhm.
I mean, I love the game, but that's one of the biggest offenders.
Yeah. So imagine how much I've told this story before, but imagine how much it sucks when everybody but you levels up at the end of a session. Because you're 100 experience short.
Yeah.
Or like a single point.
I literally was going to I asked in one of the things if I could give the thing that I had just gotten that was 100 experience, could I give 20 gold to another character instead so that they could have the experience so that they could level up. I've literally asked that. And I also play a class and a half, so my character needs a boatload more experience than anybody else to actually level up. So I don't get levels up at almost at all in comparison to my other people in there. Thankfully, I just steal items, basically, at this point. I'm like, you know what? I'm just going to say my character's a hoarder. Give it. Because that's all I can do to get experience sometimes.
Yeah.
Sometimes.
Oh, what was that, Joe?
No, I was agreeing with it.
Oh. That kind of thing is built off the balance over a campaign approach, especially given the way campaigns worked in war games. But it's one of those things that doesn't quite work when you're dealing with a non-campaign length affair. Like if it's only a few sessions long. It also assumes a certain story arc, and depending on your game, you might be not even doing that kind of story arc.
Mm-hmm.
But then we get to combat. The first version being tactical combat. And I should note one might assume, oh, this is going to be using grid combat. If it's channeling Desperados, then no. Because the video game itself doesn't use grid combat. But through that, we have a bit on field of vision and positioning, which is a big damn deal in the video game. So, of course, it's a big damn deal here. And two types of opponents, henchmen and bosses. Henchmen only have 1 hit points and do not take an action. So they only cause damage as a consequence of character's failure in combat. Bosses have 3 hit points and can only be selected as targets once all henchmen have been eliminated. And then we have levels of success in combat, as well as the consequences of failure. So basically, when you make a roll in combat, if you fail, you open yourself up to potentially taking damage. But that only applies with, say, ranged weapons and ranged attacks. They do suggest that if a possibility for the adventure, have reinforcements get called in.
I love how this guy is holding a sawed-off shotgun with one hand. Sir, you are going to break your hand that way.
Sight. Walk it off.
Yeah, he must really hate his wrists.
Amongst other things.
I was about to say the wrist. That arm is going to be gone.
Oh, if it ends up blowing up in his face, do you think he'll end up saying, "Bury me with my money"?
Love
Yeah.
the Sunset Riders reference. Bury me with my money.
I don't even think they'd be able to say anything, but that's just me.
But then success is what you'd expect, and grand success is what we've already covered. But here's where things get a little bit interesting regarding grand success in combat. Because depending on what you end up rolling is going to result in a stunt bonus, because this very much reminds me of the stunt chart in the age system. Mostly because of this chart here, which I suppose one could roll the chart. I think it would be more fun to just look at what sort of doubles you ended up rolling and use that.
Yeah, just imagine getting getting 2 3s and having like a bullet ricochet and just kill 2 guys. Just
Yeah. And the approach I see with this is that henchmen can go down easy, but that doesn't mean they can't be a problem if they're left unchecked. And of course, strength of nerve can still be used as a setup. And I do like, when combat is over, strength of nerve is usually recovered completely. So because of that, being conservative with strength of nerve really isn't gonna be that beneficial to you. They probably shouldn't blow it all in one go, but hoarding it isn't going to really give you much in the way of benefits. Now, then we get to damage. A successful attack causes damage to the opponent. Equally, the character takes damage from their opponent if they do not achieve a grand success. Damage always removes 1 hit point. And if you drop to 0, you're incapacitated. And the fact that you do take damage even on a normal success does kind of give the vibe of you should not go rushing into combat.
yeah, because everybody's got guns.
Now you can use the first aid skip. You can use first aid through medicine. It's a difficulty task of 14 to do. And if doing so, you can get 1d3 hit points back. But you only can do this once per combat. Although some of the other types of damage are amusing, like like you can take damage from falling down a floor, falling from great heights, catching on fire, falling off a horse, or getting bitten by a rattlesnake.
Snake in my boot.
That would be Siggy's way to die. Just saying.
But I did notice this little sidebar we have for spontaneous action. And because of that vibe, I feel like this is not a game that's really concerned with turn order in the traditional sense. We don't have a roll for initiative kind of thing. Which, honestly, I'm perfectly fine with. We have things for positioning, field of vision, those end up being more important. But it is, they don't outright say it, but it is clear you get one action per round. So I'd assume a kind of popcorn initiative with this setup, especially given how light the game is. But then we have dueling rules, because, you know, it's a Western, we've got to have the duel.
Of course you do.
It's not like there wasn't a whole movie built around dueling when I was a little kid. Of course I'm going to reference The Quick and the Dead. How's that for a deep cut? But, you know, first you determine ordinary difficulty, i.e. the difficulty for the ranged combat test. Determine when to shoot, i.e. how many rounds you want to wait before shooting, from 1 to 6. Each round that you spend waiting before you shoot lowers the level of difficulty on the ranged combat test by 1 point. This means the longer you wait, the more opportunity you get to focus on your target and blank out any distraction, improving your chances to hit. But the higher you pick, the more likely the opponent shoots first.
That's no fun. Do 5 paces, turn and fire.
Mm-hmm. Then step 3, exchange shots. Whoever opted for the fewer rounds of waiting starts by shooting first. If both opponents wait the same amount of time, they shoot simultaneously. The only parts of success that really matter is failure or success. In a failure, shot misses, but their opponent does not get to cause automatic damage. In a success, their opponent is hit and loses 1 hit point. And after fire is exchanged, the duel is over. If both are still standing, they can carry on for another round or consider the matter settled. Or just escalate things into normal combat if you so choose. And I like that we have these little cutouts here. And there was, in the Drive-Thru RPG page, there was a zip file that contained these individually so you could use them for VTTs.
That's pretty neat.
Yep. But then we have Voodoo.
Voodoo.
Yep. That Voodoo that you do.
God damn it, we had the same thing.
Yep, same brain. And I'm going Revolving Revolver Revolverance. Played by Revolver Ocelot, who is disguised as Revolver Ocelot.
He speaks for the Patriots.
Not my favorite football team.
No, but I enjoy seeing the Patriots lose these days because karma came due. It's like, y'all were lording over the league for years, and now you gotta pay up. And I remember, I have a dear friend who's a diehard Boston sports fan, and he was like, Yeah, but this is the worst situation. They're supposed to be good. Like, this is why people have no sympathy for you. You are the evil empire. Embrace it. And much like evil empires, you are eventually gonna fall. And when you do, no one has any sympathy. So, welcome to hell. We kept the seat warm for you. But the grimoire that it's talking about is just the collection of spells. Each spell has a certain difficulty level based on either the opponent or just a standard difficulty, and will largely use the humanity skill unless a certain skill is stated. Some require you to lose a hit point or a point of strength of nerve, which in those situations you got to pay for that from your own resources. For example, the connect spell, you have to spend 1 strength of nerve in order to use it. Only henchmen can be connected. You can't use it on bosses. But it is basically an HP linking effect. Mind control, which is self-explanatory. Black cat, which is a Loa in the form of a little black cat, which can use distraction and animal call.
No, Tabby, you cannot get this spell.
Mm-hmm.
Too late.
God damn it.
I already decided I was going to be a voodoo. The voodoo magic user.
Let's see.
And the good thing is we have a black cat to add to the spell.
Yep. Hands of Healing, which is essentially lay on hands. On one hand, whoever you're using it on, if you can beat the difficulty 17, though it does cost 1 hit point to use, they recover a number of hit points equal to the roll on one of the dice, but you can't use the spell on yourself. I like that limitation. And of course, we do have the voodoo doll spell.
Oh, this from Blood.
Mm-hmm. Although I'd say the voodoo doll spell here is a bit stronger.
Oh, come.
Enchanting this doll takes about 1 hour, so it's not feasible to create a voodoo doll in a combat situation. In lieu of an attack in tactical combat, you can destroy a voodoo doll that you already have. If the opponent who is connected with the doll is a henchman, they are automatically taken out. If they're a boss, they are incapacitated. The spell can be cast from cover and can be used outside of tactical combat. Costs 1 hit point and is a difficulty 11 test.
So, Cheaping Cheok, got it.
Mm-hmm. Let's see, then you have Divination, where you can change the field of vision for up to 3 opponents. Can be cast from cover, takes 1 strength of nerve. There's not that many spells.
Nope.
Which I'm fine with, since I have seen some games that spend way too much time on spell lists. Especially in the cases where the amount of spells that are on the list and the amount of spells that you're actually going to be able to use, there's a massive gap. But then we also have equipment, which is self-explanatory. It's using the dollar setup for it, and a bit of running the game, including, if you want to, playing as the Pinkertons.
Oh gosh.
Or playing as bounty hunters, as well as Civil War veterans. And when it comes to adversaries, you have the options like railroad tycoons, cattle barons, other outlaws, and crooks. And then it goes into things like opponents, terrain features, and like for tactical combat, as well as the difficulty level for different types of henchmen and bosses, and some unique skills that they may have.
How do they figure out the number for the difficulty again?
Each of the adversaries has a difficulty level. Like for example, for cowboy, it's 11. So if you're making if you're trying to take a shot at a cowboy type henchman, you need to roll 11 or more in order to consider it a success.
Yeah, that's what they mean. That's what they mean.
Mm-hmm.
And that's why a normal citizen is an 8.
Mm-hmm. Pretty much. And the remaining part of the book just covers a introductory scenario with a few maps. I would say whoever's playing this kind of game to really reinforce the layout. Don't have just a flat encounter, but have things like cover or interactable elements, because we gotta have the exploding barrels somehow.
Mm-hmm.
But that more or less covers Desperados by way of Pegasus Spiel. So, given what we've seen with this particular affair, what did you guys think?
Definitely good to have like for a one-shot game, in my opinion, and it's probably something I'd do with a theme of like old Western food, because I do love to cook before a game.
Mm-hmm. Are you familiar with a YouTube channel called Townsend's?
Sounds familiar. I'd probably know it if I saw it.
Townsend's is a guy who does a lot of videos on like daily life in the colonial era, and that includes what somebody might have eaten around that time.
Ooh, definitely gonna have to look that up then.
Now specifically, what would have been lifestyle in the 18th century. And apparently he did a video a few days ago talking about the origin of shepherd's pie. And making a cheesecake the way it would have been made in 1669. Or what some early lobster dishes were in the early states of America. Or British York pie, British York pie circa 1734.
Is this the eating history guy?
I don't think so. It's just what he does. But on one hand, the British pork pie might be interesting to try out. On the other hand, it is still British cooking, so you know how that goes.
Mm-hmm.
But
Oh yeah, the tasting history guy. Yeah.
I'd say for people who want a very light affair, almost beer and pretzels. I know I keep using that phrase, but it applies here. I think it very much fits here. I think the only thing that some people might have an issue with is how tactical combat works, because it's not all that focused on hard distances. And I only say that because even in my own work, you still see people who have a certain brain rot about grid combat. But this is not interested in that sort of specificity. And for some people, that's going to be an adjustment period. But that's really the worst of it. And no matter what nitpicks I might have, that all of those can be countered with the game is free.
Mm-hmm.
Pretty much.
Like, could I argue against free? Yeah, but I'm going to lose that argument, so I'm not going to do it. Especially for a game of this size, like, could there be more in the way of equipment and the like? Yeah, I guess, but it's not meant to be a very detailed game.
You can just house rule a lot of it, so
You can you can make whatever you want on it, like to make it to where you want to have it there.
It is pretty flexible on that front. If I were to do some house ruling, I'd probably have a bit of fun with the 3d6 approach to maybe take a bit of a slot machine approach to certain rolls.
that sounds interesting.
Some sort of extra effect if you roll matching sets, or if you roll sequences. I'd say I wouldn't do something for every potential sequence, obviously, but it's a thought. And also a way to have the gambler find ways to cheat those rolls, because it's a gambler.
Of course.
Mm-hmm.
Are you calling me a cheat? Yes. Oh.
Also
Okay. Aratani says she definitely would be the gambler because I mean that's exactly what she would do.
Yep. Also, I hope. Thank you for gifting the sub, Mario. I hope, Loon. I hope you enjoy the joining of the Temple Acolytes. But
Welcome.
with the only thing I can think of that maybe there could be some expansion of is firearms, maybe. But this isn't that kind of game. Like most people are going to be using some variety of a big iron, so not much need to go further than that. And let me check here. Yeah, they're not going for detailed equipment, so that's not necessary either. Although I probably would house rule certain effects if you get successes or grand successes depending on certain types of equipment. Damage wouldn't change. I wouldn't do that kind of thing. But something to reflect what Mario had said in the chat earlier about dealing with unstable equipment or jamming, especially if you're or possibly if you have, say, a repeater. If you have that repeater, you can't. If you fire the thing, you can't move. Because moving repeaters wouldn't be as much of a thing for a few decades at least. But what do you guys think of what we've seen out of Desperados?
I like it. Like I said, definitely a game that I'd probably prepare some, old Western food for like one shot.
Mm-hmm.
Short, sweet, to the point.
Mm-hmm. Nice little fun one shot.
Lends itself well to the Weird West kind of idea.
And as an aside, I do like that with Voodoo there is a cost instead of adding a whole new resource just to justify it.
Mhm.
Because you're either casting from HP or mental HP.
Mhm.
And you still have to roll, so all of my problems with Vancian magic don't apply here. But with that said, that will... Ammo says, where's the spaghetti? You gotta bring that your own damn self. You're not eating my spaghetti.
Now I want to make some spaghetti this weekend. Thanks a lot.
Okay. We could make spaghetti this weekend. I mean, you're home too.
Yep.
But when it comes to what we've got here, if I'm grading this on my setup, I'd probably go with recommended. The navigation issues that we have, like the lack of a index and bookmarks, is the only thing preventing this from getting strongly recommended.
Like, a part of me understands because it is such a short book, but at the same time, it is kind of annoying.
Mm-hmm. Now, if you're looking at this through the PDF, you can obviously just do Control F. But I never assume that, because for all I know, somebody might have printed out a pamphlet version of this book.
Mm-hmm.
But that will do it for this episode. I know this was a brief one, but this is a brief game. When we get back here next week, we will be finally tackling the one thing I've been dancing around when it comes to Farsight. And that is psionics.
Gosh.
Excellent.
So we will finally be able to see if psionics it is as much of an offender as as more traditional magic systems, or if it isn't. It's looking like the latter, if I'm being honest. And I realized I didn't do as much streaming this week, but there were some outside factors that I've mentioned on social medias as to why I didn't do the game streams that I planned for the week. But next week will be more business as usual in terms of what I've got coming down the pipe. So keep an eye out for that. But until then, on behalf of the good brothers present and not present, my name is Mildra. I am your gaming monk. Stay fucking frosty, everybody.
Yeah.
我们自